All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends with the Morning Show. You've heard the personal endorsements here by Glenn Beck, by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and that's really the whole why and the reason why we do this show, and just been doing this show, like I mentioned, I think over 12 years now, ideally, and just comes down to people make this mistake over and over and over and over in real estate, and I see it, like I mentioned before, no matter how affluent they are, no matter how many properties they bought, they've sold, they still make this same mistake of thinking that all the real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer, say all the time, if you're charged with a crime you did not commit, the last person you want is a part-time attorney who's tried a few cases, but they're a friend of a friend, right? You want the absolute best, most aggressive, most attentive attorney who's got obviously a lot of experience and specializes in that type of law. And so why would you not demand that same level of excellence when you're dealing with, for most people, one of the largest assets in real estate? And so it's a big, big difference. And the average agent in our marketplace sells roughly 4 homes a year. There's not a whole lot of experience in that, and really a lot of just ins and outs of understanding the pace of the market and what's happening. So here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller, especially in a market like right now, comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent that you choose, period, right? Not your wall color, not the grass. It comes down to the agent you have, and really comes specifically how they execute from A to Z, because when you sell a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what it does? It puts money in your pocket, the property gets sold. If anything's handled incorrectly, a.k.a. they drop the ball at any point, that's going to cost you hard equity, a.k.a. money, or the property does not get sold. What we've seen most recent is people sell their property. They think they did well, but they don't realize they have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on the table sometimes. And so it comes down to, does the agent have the ability to juggle all those 118 different balls at the same time through the process? And the reality is single agents do not, right? It just doesn't work to have one person, pretty much that single agent, trying to do all those responsibilities. It's like having the same person at McDonald's do the front register, the drive-thru, and the french fries at the same time. It's very, very inefficient, and that food would not taste very good. Just like your experience in real estate is not going to be very good having one single person who sells 4 homes a year try to execute at all those variables at the same time. And so what I did, I said, look, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way where we can get access and really the overall details handled for our clients like they need. And so I created this system called the Guaranteed Sold System. Basically, the only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. I designed, like I mentioned, and we have that really backed up by 2 things. Number one is technology. Technology helps manage those variables so we know what has to happen in the right order every single time. And the second piece is people. You need a team of people who can execute, and we have what we call a team of specialists who specialize in each part of that process to make sure that we execute at a very, very high level. We call it stacking the dominoes, make sure that we create the right leverage for our client at point 1, at point 2, all the way through 118. And what we do is we stack those dominoes, and you add all those small gaps up. It creates a massive, really competitive advantage for our client on the back end, and that's what that Guaranteed Sold System does. On the flip side, guess what? There's 100-plus variables to be managed when you're buying a home. If each one's handled correctly, guess what it does? Saves you money, gets the property that you want. If anything's handled incorrectly and they drop that ball at any point, that costs you a lot of money, or you don't get the right property. And so we designed a system for that too. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get your priority access, basically foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to ultimately get you to the closing table successfully. And so if you want to know more about how those work, you definitely owe it to yourself to learn about them and really see how you can get a competitive advantage when you're buying or selling. Reach out to me, 843-808-SOLD, or BlakeSloan.com anytime.
Here with my trusted friend in the real estate market, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. So what are home sellers, what do they need to know about the market right now?
Home sellers need to know the market here on the Grand Strand, absolutely on fire. We're seeing record numbers in terms of prices that sellers are getting. It's almost unbelievable. We're seeing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars coming in the Northeast that are just bidding up properties and getting sellers more money than they ever thought possible.
Got it. Now, how will that get them more money?
That's going to help get home sellers more money because there's more buyers here than we've ever seen before. But we're not sure how long that's going to last. We are seeing that start to level off a little bit, and some of that interest has started to slow down. So sellers definitely need to take advantage of the super hot market right now before there's any type of shift.
All right, as always, thanks for the insight. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, we can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time?
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Got the brand new market numbers in, and back to that Sean Hannity commercial I recorded with Sean. Definitely wanted to really, that was about 2 months ago, and we talked about this shift potentially happening, and we're seeing that shift happen right now. And that's one thing we talked about months ago. We've been watching the data. If anybody's been listening for a while, I'm a big nerd about data and using that to make good decisions for our clients and really helping our clients understand that data to make the best decision in terms of what they're doing. So looking at the brand new market numbers, again, it's very early in the month. To get the most accurate, I guess you say, numbers, usually about the 10th of the month is where all the final numbers are, and you don't see the needle move too much. And what that is basically just agents who are lazy or slack and just not putting their sold into the MLS, into the system. But overall, looking right now, closed sales last month down 27.5% from the same month last year. And so if you look at June of 2021, there were 797 home sales. You look at June this year, 578. And so that's big time drop right there, almost 30% drop from the same time last year. But here's the other piece I think that's very interesting to look at. It's really dropped consecutively for almost 4 months in a row. So you have March with 702 home sales. Then you had April at 653. Then you had May at 610. And then June continues that decline with 578. And so that's in alignment with what we were seeing with new properties going under contract. Remember, I've been tracking that for a while, been sharing that data. We'll share the new updated data for you all today as well. But interesting, right? We're seeing that interest rate really make a big difference. And if you remember when rates started climbing, it was back in March. And so that slowly happened. It jumped back up in a big way last month, and it's come back down a little bit. But we've seen that make a big difference. And one thing I think that is the wild card in this is just consumer confidence, where everybody's claiming it's going to be crash, and then obviously you're seeing there's that other piece of just inventory being very low. But we have seen that really rise significantly across the country in the last month. I'll talk about some of that national data in a second. But other piece here is interesting to look at is overall sales price. So sales price has been on a tear continuously. If you remember going back a few months on our show, I always talk about two things, right? There's overall supply and demand. And so as really supply was very low, demand was high, prices continue to go up. Price is always what we call a lagging indicator, meaning that it lags a few months behind the supply and demand piece. And over the last couple of months, we've seen supply raise up a little bit and really kind of demand go down a little bit. And that's why we're finally seeing some softening of price. We have seen that month versus month here a little bit. So last month, overall June numbers, the overall median price was $375,000. That's up, though, 19% from the same month last year. Most of the data here, it's always gone the same month year versus year because we're a seasonal marketplace, and it really makes the most sense where when it's seasonal, you compare June to June, right, instead of overall November and December. So if you look at the overall difference, though, like, for example, last June 2021, median price $315,000. This year, $375,000, which is good. But the overall kind of detailed data, if you look at May, it really kind of capped out or topped out at the ceiling of $380,000 for a median price. It dropped back down in June to $375,000. So we're kind of seeing that overall curve come back down as we've seen decline in terms of demand as well. The other piece here that's interesting that I noticed this last month is average price. So we are seeing a decline for really 2 months in a row in average price. So if you look at last month average price, $457,838, which is up 14.4% from the same time last year. So go to basically back to June 2021, it's $400,151. If you go to June this year, 457, 838. But if you look at the most recent time, right, and what's happening overall since things have slowed down a little bit, you are seeing it. It looks like it tapped out in terms of price back in April 2022, 486, 984. And then what happened, that was in April. Then May dropped down to 475, 234. And then June, 475, 838. We may see that bounce around a little bit, but the overall trend here is the first time we've seen in a very, very, very long time both a decrease in median sales price and average sale price, and also along with a decline significantly in terms of new sales. So if I'm a home seller, I'm looking at that data saying, oh, man, if I've been waiting, I cannot wait much longer if I want to get to the very, very top of this market, I want to cash out the top of the market. The good news is we're still very, very low in inventory, but you are finally seeing that softening of price. We're seeing a lot less showings. And so if you're a home seller, you've been thinking about selling, if you have investment property, you've been thinking about selling, and you've been on the edge and say, man, I want to wait for the top is already hit. And so you definitely want to take action now. I wouldn't wait till September. I was talking to an Uber driver actually yesterday, and he said, well, you kind of want to wait till September. I'm like, man, if you're looking to cash out now, I would highly advise you to take action right now. I'm not saying it's going to be anything that significant, but if you want to be able to capitalize and really take the most that you can of your hard-earned equity, it's probably a really good time to do that right now, as we are seeing it finally shift a little bit to more so a little bit lower prices and a little bit less craziness in that piece. Now, here's the wild card, though, is also the inventory. So inventory has been very, very low. We were hit, a crisis level for a very long time. The inventory is up 23.1% from the same time last year. So it's really climbed up since back in January, February is at 0.9 months of inventory. Right now, we've risen up to 1.6 months inventory, which is, a lot more than it was, but it's still a super seller's market. Anything 6 months or below in terms of inventory is a seller's market, meaning the seller has the advantage. Anything 6 months or more is called a buyer's market. The buyer has the advantage here. We are seeing it climb, but there's still a very, very long way to do, and I think that might be some of the saving grace in terms of what's going to help protect price as there is a shift, and it really is kind of more of a normalizing in terms of what's happening for price. We talked about last month prices for single families up over 35% year versus year, condos up over 45% year versus year. Those are numbers that just aren't sustainable in terms of affordability, people being able to buy them. So that's something that we'll keep watching and see what happens. Here's the overall interesting data that I think is very important to look at as well, and it has to do with buyer traffic, and so it's showings per listing. We look at how many showings per listing on average, and right now it's at 5.6 showings per listing. And again, if there's stuff that's super overpriced, it doesn't get anything, or if it has terrible marketing, which most of them do, it doesn't get that many showings. But here's the deal. The overall showing is down 23.3% from the same time last year, which is interesting. So if you go back to looking at February this year, 8.3 showings per listing was kind of the peak, and then it went down. It's gone down ever since February. So March went down to 8.1. You go to April, 7.3. May 5.9, and then into June 5.6. Now, I'm no rocket scientist, but when I see that same curve happen in terms of overall showings per listing, right, you're talking about the overall sales in itself, you're seeing that trend, and also you're seeing that trend follow in average sale price. You're starting to see a significant softening in what's happening, and so I want to use that data to make the best decision as a home seller to probably go ahead and get access to my highest amount of home equity possible if I'm looking to sell and cash out an investment property or move up or somewhere else. And so that's something that's obviously not that significant in terms of price. I don't really kind of set a huge alarm, but just looking at the data of kind of what's happening, how those things are lining up. One thing we've really talked about for a while is what's happened week versus week in new properties going under contract. I think that's super important data to look at. So if you look at overall what went under contract this last 7 days, as of this morning, there are 482 properties under contract for $171 million. If you look at 1 week ago, it's 502 properties under contract for $171 million. So very similar volume. 2 weeks ago, 567 under contract. 3 weeks ago, 580. 4 weeks ago, 522. But if you go to 5 weeks ago, 660 under contract for $240 million. So that's how much was happening per 7 day period on that radio show for that Friday. And so if you you go all the way in 6 weeks from 660 per 7 days all the way down to 482 per 7 days, you can see significant softening in terms of new properties going under contract. The good news is we're still seeing more inventory that's hitting the market. So if you look at, this is crazy, 6 weeks ago, might be 7 now, I have it 6 down here, but 382 active properties on the MLS. Then it went at 478, 531, 598, 618, 625. And this week, up to 683 active properties on the MLS that are single-family homes in Horry County, which is kind of just an easy way to look at overall what's happening, kind of what the overall inventory is. So you're seeing significant increase. I'm a home buyer, and I saw rates drop back down. There's still a lot more opportunity. We had a lot of people that were just getting outbid. A lot of buyers who were FHA buyers and VA buyers were having trouble getting in, competing against a lot of cash buyers and also buyers that were just regular conventional buyers. Now there's a lot of opportunity because there's so much more inventory right now. You can definitely get in. We've still seen a lot of those buyers. Or anybody that's been looking to move laterally, there's more opportunity to buy. Remember, sellers wouldn't sell because they couldn't find anything to buy. And that's something that you're seeing a little more just options right now for you, which is really, really good. We're seeing big money still come in. Last 7 days, 14 properties over $1 million under contract. One was $4.3 million. 72 properties over $500,000 under contract. And so there's still a lot of significant stuff moving and happening out there. So definitely keep that in mind. Obviously, it's also going to break down to what your micro market is, your overall neighborhood, zip code, things like that. So that's something you can always reach out to me and my team. We'll be more than happy to break that area down for you and just kind of give you some one-on-one info if you want, one-on-one data to help you kind of make good decisions. And that's what we're here for. Hey, even if you're not ready to buy or sell, we're here to help you get the information that you want, because we know that when you are ready, eventually, guess what? You're probably going to come back for us because we helped you with the right information that most people don't even have. And so here's some other interesting numbers, too. If you look at some national data, 25,000 homes hit the market last week across the country, which is very, very interesting. Inventory was up 6.2% across the entire country last week just for homes. And right now, last week, 444,417 active homes. And that was one of the things we really dug into in the data. If you look at what a normal market would be in terms of how many homes would be available on the market pre-COVID, right, when things are normal, there have been about 1 million homes in the market. And so right now there's still only 444,000. So there's a significant way to go even to get back to a normalized market. And that's what I talk about in terms of inventory being so low. We're at 1.6 months right now, which is still historically very, 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 very low in inventory. And that's going to be, like I mentioned, the wild card that does help protect price going forward. And one last part here, which is interesting, has been interest rates. You remember interest rates, they jumped up significantly last month to a high of 6.28%. And everyone's freaking out, right? That was ahead of the overall Fed meeting they had. It's climbed back down in the past week and a half, which is great. Right now, it's 5.7% for overall 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which is awesome. Look at just last week's show at 6.07. So significant drop there, back below 6s at 5.7, which is not that bad at all. Look at what we've been looking at since March. So great news there overall. A 15-year fixed rate, 5.00%, down 0.25%. So a significant drop there. A 30-year jumbo loan right now, 4.90%. So there's still a good buy there for anything that's in the high end in a jumbo loan. A 5-year adjustable rate mortgage right now, 5.2%. A 30-year FHA loan is at 5.13%, and a 30-year VA loan, 5.25%. And so we have the absolute best lenders who lend the most money for the best rates. And so if you have any questions on how that works, or if you want to say, hey, Blake, tell me more about that data, what's happening. I just want to know more about my house and what's happening, maybe what I should do. There's never, ever any pressure. We're here to help really just serve and give you the information, the data, and guidance that you need, just like we've been doing here for over a decade. And if you want to know more about that, reach out, call me, call my office, 843-808-SOLD. Take a quick break. Be right back in a second.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with two mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 five-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's shows Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach, the Grand Strand area, $250,000 up to $4.3 million. If you're thinking about selling, reach out, call us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One of the things we've been doing for this show for a very, very long time, which we've been most proud of, is we put our money where our mouth is. Like, we're not here to promise and wait till we list a property to put a sign up and start marketing for buyers. We're marketing for buyers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for years now. And anybody that's been listening for a while, one of the things that we do is we like to share our real-time active buyer count of how many active buyers we have who are looking to buy here in our area that are on our personal website. And so this week, active buyers we have with a username, password, account, 68,521 active home buyers. Again, that's 68,521 active home buyers who are looking right now to purchase a home like yours. And so everybody asks, what makes you different? The reality is most agents wait till they get the listing, do the 3 Ps, right? They promise you the world to get the listing. They probably usually tell you they're number one. Number 2, they put it into MLS. And then 3, they pray that someone else brings a buyer. And that's about it. Meanwhile, they're trying to get another listing so they can keep surviving in the business. And so with us, we're spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars every month in marketing, driving traffic online, and generating buyers from all across the globe because our business model gives us a huge advantage, right? We outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint because the business model that we have gives us a huge advantage. We have a huge team of buyer experts. We have listing partners. We have inside sales, outside sales, and a huge administrative team. And so it allows us to create a much bigger web, in turn bring in a lot more buyers, which we increase demand for your property. And we even have technology that takes any new listing, a.k.a. your house, right, or your property, your condo. We sell commercial. We sell. You bring me a shoe, we can sell it, right? But the reality is we have technology that takes any property and it reverse engineers the most likely buyer for that property based on the previous search patterns that we have within our system. And so that's what we're usually able to do to get multiple offers very quickly. We can sell them within minutes or hours. We can sell it without you having to put it on the market and run a bunch of people through your property. We're able to use that technology because we have huge advantage over everyone else because just the overall volume that we have in our marketing, the volume we have in terms of buyers. And it's like right now on our site, we have Cindy Aldred. She's from Colfax, North Carolina. I got Michael Gower from Whitehall, PA. I got Sean and Jessica from Hilton Head. I got Ron from Lilletts, PA. I got Robert Peterson from Smyrna, Georgia. I got Raleigh, North Carolina. All over the place, Ackworth, Georgia. I got Tina Jones from La Plata, Maryland. And I got Lori, I can't even say it, Delacio from Nashville, Tennessee, which is awesome. I got Sharon from Brooklyn, New York, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Washington, D.C. So the reality is we have lots of buyers from all over the place that we already have in what we call buyers in waiting. And so if you want to know how that works, reach out to us. But what we do that is it helps drive demand for your home and increase demand, increase really what we call kind of just an overall excitement for it. And then we bring the buyers in. Our buyer team of buyer experts uses technology. They reach out by hand and reach out and say, hey, we have a brand new listing. It matches exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to take a look at it? They say yes because, 1, they know who we are. 2, they're on our site. And 3, it's actually what they want. And that's how we're able to outsell people and sell properties faster and for more money. And so if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. Really quick, just a couple awesome success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it. Joe and Melinda owned a home in Conway. Recently decided that it was time to sell while the market is at an all-time high in price. The most important part to them, though, was selling the home in its current condition, meaning as is, with the least amount of hassle possible. Thankfully, Joe and Melinda's son used us, Sloan Realty Group, to help buy his first home. Had a great experience, so he had Joe call us. We came in, met with Joe and Melinda, showed exactly how that we had hundreds of buyers who would be interested in their home and how we can get it sold quickly and easily, and them not have to do anything with the home. We came in, created a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough within a couple of days, drove massive traffic, had Joe and Melinda multiple offers. They accepted an offer of $5,000 above asking price, sold it completely as is, meaning they fixed nothing, had to do nothing to it, no paint, no nothing. Joe and Melinda did not have to do anything to the home, moved on with maximum equity in their pocket in terms of that overall. And one thing, too, Harold owned a condo, Little River. Recently decided it was time to upgrade to a larger vacation home. Harold had been following Blake, myself, on TV and online for many years, knew exactly who to call first. Thank you very much, Harold. And we met with him, showed exactly how to get the property sold for the absolute most amount of money, created a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough within a couple of days with massive traffic, had multiple offers come to the property, was able to accept a full price as-is offer on his property. Now he's able to take maximum equity and move that over into his next larger vacation home. And so we're still using that multiple offer strategy that we have to drive in massive traffic for our clients. And so even though the market's turned a little bit, don't be that concerned. Reach out to me. We're here to guide you in that. I do feel that inventory is going to help protect us in terms of price. And so if you have any questions at all, we're here to help you navigate. 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
I'm moving on.
When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at BlakeSloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. And start packing.